the reason we should stop saying alcoholic isn't because it's offensive or it's a negative label or, people are going to get upset. The real reason we should stop saying alcoholic is because it's a misleading term that doesn't accurately describe what's actually going on. So modern medicine, psychology actually calls it alcohol use disorder, AUD, which is a much better description of what's actually going on, because it exists on a spectrum from mild to moderate to severe, and with a potentially unlimited number of levels in between. No problem drinker is exactly the same. The reason that alcoholic, the term alcoholic as a label, doesn't work is because people think to themselves, I either am one or I'm not one. And first of all, in the beginning, no one wants to be an alcoholic. No one wants the label of alcoholic. So what typically happens is as soon as you start to wonder, do I have a drinking problem or am I an alcoholic? You compare yourself to somebody that you know is an alcoholic or a problem drinker. And you say to yourself, well, I'm not like them, so clearly I can't be an alcoholic. And then you usually go back to doing what you were doing. Well, that prevents you from examining your drinking at an early stage. And so problem drinking into abuse is a progressive disorder. So if you wait until you think to yourself, oh, I'm definitely an alcoholic, you could have prevented probably a lot of heartache by looking at your drinking and saying to yourself, okay, I'm starting to have problems now. Maybe I'm on the mild end of the spectrum of alcohol use disorder. Because if you're on the mild end, eventually it's probably going to progress to medium to severe. That's why, alcoholic as a label. Now, there are some people that go to Alcoholics Anonymous and they're proud to say they're an alcoholic, and admitting they were an alcoholic was their biggest step and stuff like that. That's fine, and I get that. But in general, in normal society, people don't want to label themselves an alcoholic. So I think it's much easier to examine your drinking at a very early stage. And you have to ask yourself, some people say, well, how do I know if I have a problem with alcohol? It's pretty simple. Is alcohol causing problems in your life? Is it causing problems in your relationships, causing problems at work, causing problems with your mood, causing problems with your energy level? They don't have to be DUIs and jail time and stuff like that. And then if you're like, well, I don't know if alcohol is the cause. Well, is apple juice causing you any problems? Is ketchup causing you any problems? Mustard, wheat bread, are those causing you problems? Probably not. So when you look at alcohol as something that you're ingesting that's definitely changing your mood, you have to ask yourself honestly, is this making me moody? Is this making me lazy? Is this costing me money? Is this leading to fights with my significant other? Those are all problems. So you don't have to label yourself an alcoholic to be honest with yourself and say, you know what, drinking alcohol is causing me problems. When you examine it at an earlier stage and you're honest with yourself, you're much more likely to say, you know what, let me nip this in the bud now. I don't have to label myself an alcoholic. I can just be honest and admit that I might be on the mild end of the spectrum of alcohol use disorder, and better to address it now before it progresses and gets out of hand.